afternoon. For those of you who don't know me, my name is DiOrio, and I'm the Senior Medical Director of Quality for OPG. I'm glad this day is finally here because the build-up to today has been a little bit anxiety-provoking for me. I have given many lectures and interviews over the course of my career, but they've always been about data or about some public health issue. They haven't been about me, and I'm a little uncomfortable talking about me. I originally thought, when I was giving this talk, that I would talk about data and how we can't lose sight of the people behind the numbers. And while that felt good and good for me, it didn't feel right. So, as any problem solver, I decided to reach out to a trusted source, and I texted my 22-year-old daughter, Claire. I knew she would give unfiltered advice. I started by asking her what song I should use when I come up on stage. And she wanted to know why her mother had a walk-up song. So I then told her a little bit more about LEAD and my leadership journey and what I wanted to talk about. And Claire challenged me without even knowing that she was doing so. She responded in her text, "Why didn't I talk about women leadership and diversity and inclusion?" Because she and I have talked a lot about that, and especially now as she's getting ready to graduate and enter the working world. I was a bit embarrassed when I read her text because I talk a lot about it, but I didn't feel that I've actually put my words into action. And if I think about why, I think it's because so often I haven't thought that my story is valuable enough for the conversation. But we at OhioHealth have put a stake in the ground that all of our voices and all of our stories are important. I have been back at OhioHealth for about 3 years now. I did my residency training at Riverside and then had a career in public health. And my proudest moment in these 3 years has been at our OLB event where we discussed diversity and inclusion. Here's a slide that depicts some of the individuals who were brave enough to hold up signs talking about their stories and diversity and inclusion. I was inspired by my peers and emboldened to take diversity and inclusion even further at OhioHealth. Unfortunately, just a couple of months after this event, I realized how far we have to go. There was an e-learning that had been released on discrimination and harassment education. And I was in a meeting where we talked about that education. And one of the participants in the meeting had mentioned that he didn't think that the video examples were of harassment. And someone else said, well, times are different now, and that probably wasn't harassment in the past. And I was saddened. But I didn't use my voice. I didn't take that moment to act. Instead, I just let my feelings take hold. But I know that my leadership journey is a journey, and I'm not defined by a single moment. And I can take my experiences and my feelings and turn them into action. Diversity and inclusion is something that perhaps some of you also feel is an important issue, but you haven't yet acted upon. So I challenge all of us to think about ways that we could get involved. Mentorship and sponsorship is something that everyone at every level of the organization could take part in. Just as I had asked my daughter what song I should use, I also asked her what words she thought I would put on my sign because I had talked to her about that event. Not only did the words that she chose for me really speak to me about how I actually view my leadership journey as well, but I thought I would share them with all of you. So in honor of my daughter and that empowering OLB event, here's my sign. I am here to stand up for myself. For many years, I did not know how to recognize my own value. But now that I do, I will help others recognize their own value. I commit to you today that I will use my voice and my passions and put them into action. And I will seek out young women to mentor, to help them recognize their own value so that I can help all of us build our culture of inclusion here at OhioHealth. Thank you.